Hi, I'm going to tell you about this glass, or at least how this glass became my glass. Ready? Okay, about 10 years ago, there was a restaurant opened in Toronto called the Black Hoof. If you live in Toronto, you've probably definitely heard of it. And even if you've been a visitor to Toronto, you've probably heard of it. And it was opened by Jen Ag, who still owns it. And she announced recently that she is closing the Black Hoof after 10 years. Now, 10 years ago, I had no idea who Jen Ag was. I'd heard about the Black Hoof because everyone was writing about it. It was doing some innovative things with charcuterie and different kinds of meat. And just generally, it had a lot of buzz around it. And at some point in those first few, I don't know, maybe months or within the first year or two, I went with some friends and we had this really great meal. And towards the end of the meal, our server came and brought us little glasses of what I believe were Amaro. And the reason was as an apology for things taking a little too long. I have to admit that none of us thought anything had taken too long. It was a great meal. We had a great time. We sat, we talked, we ate really good food. And it really struck me as the kind of thing a really good place does when it feels like something hasn't gone right. And the drink came in this little glass, and it says measuring glass on it. And it's got all these different measures, tablespoons, teaspoons, ounces. I thought it was really cool. I really liked it. And as we were paying, I asked our server if she knew where the glass had come from. She said she didn't, but that she'd ask. And on our way out, she brought somebody over, and it turned out the person was Jen Ag. Again, I didn't know it at the time, but in the months and years since, I'd seen interviews with her, I'd seen pictures of her, and I learned what she looked like, and that was her. I said, is there any way I could buy one or anything like that? She said she wasn't sure, and that. So anyway, I thought, well, great, nothing. Then she did something that stayed with me for a really long time. And even if that meal hadn't been so good, even if the cocktails hadn't been so good, even if the service hadn't been so good, this is something that would have made me come back and be a devoted fan of her and her restaurants, the way she runs her restaurants. She said that I could have easily stolen the glass, that's something that people do, and that because I didn't, she was going to give it to me. And not only that, but she grabbed it from me, took it, washed it, and then gave it to me. And like I said, this has really stuck with me. I still have this glass. I still love this glass. I've always been a fan of the Black Hoof. I've always been a fan of Jen's. By the way, she's also written a book. It's a memoir. It's called I Hear She's a Real Bitch. It's great. I highly recommend it. I loved it when I read it. Jen has said that if her gravestone reads restaurateur, that she would have seriously messed up her 40s. Of course, she didn't say mess. But no matter what she goes on to do, she will always to some degree be remembered as the person who opened the Black Hoof and the impact it had on Toronto. It's a wonderful place. If you have a chance to go, I believe it closes on August 20th. Please do. It's special. It's a thing that Toronto will miss. To Jen and to the Black Hoof, thank you. Cheers to your 10 years of success and for everything you've done for the city of Toronto. I really look forward to seeing what you do next. We need more people like Jen in the restaurant industry. Well, I say we, I'm not in the restaurant industry, but the restaurant industry does for sure. Yeah, I'll be really sad to see it go, especially now that I don't live in Toronto. I'm definitely going to try to make a trip, but I will always have this glass and this memory. And that's really, like I said, something I'll always remember, and it's a special moment for me. So once again, Jen, thank you. Thank you for my glass.